My name is Emily Carter. At 32, I own a boutique vineyard in Napa Valley that's the envy of wine enthusiasts. It's a dream I built from nothing. Growing up, my family never saw me as the star. My brother, Nathan, was always the golden child. When I refused to give up my vineyard for his wedding venue, my mom told me I was selfish and didn't deserve my success. If you're watching this, drop a comment letting me know where you're tuning in from. Hit that like button and subscribe to hear how I turned their expectations upside down. I grew up in a small town in Oregon, where appearances were everything. Our house was modest, but my mom, Linda, made sure it looked like it belonged in a lifestyle magazine. My dad, Robert, was a high school principal, always the respected figure at community events. My mom ran a catering business, specializing in lavish weddings, as she loved to brag. Then there was Nathan, 3 years older, charming, athletic, and the apple of their eye. His dark hair was always perfect, while mine was a messy auburn tangle. By the time I was 8, the family roles were set. Nathan was the prince. I was the extra. Emily, don't slouch, my mom would snap at dinner parties. Look at Nathan's posture, that's how you carry yourself. Even when I shone in school, it didn't matter. In 5th grade, I won a regional science fair with a project on sustainable farming. My parents clapped politely, but they spent the ride home discussing Nathan's soccer tournament. When I showed them my certificate, my dad said, "That's nice. Emily, will this get you a scholarship?" The old desktop in our basement became my escape at 12. While Nathan was at football practice or student council, I read about viticulture and soil science online. When I showed my mom a spreadsheet I'd made for growing grapes, she smiled thinly. "That's cute, Emily. But don't waste time on hobbies. It's not practical." My dad was blunter. "Farming is for people who can't make it in the real world. Success comes from leading people, not playing in dirt." In high school, the comparisons never stopped. Nathan was homecoming king star quarterback and dated the head cheerleader. I was president of the environmental club, spending weekends at local farms learning about organic crops. My parents never attended my club presentations. My senior year, I got into UC Davis with a partial scholarship for their viticulture program. That same week, Nathan was accepted to Oregon State for business, where my parents had studied. Guess whose acceptance letter got framed in the living room? "We're so proud of both our kids," my mom said at a family barbecue, raising her glass, "but Emily's scholarship will help with costs." "It's UC Davis, Mom," I corrected. "Top program for winemaking." My dad shrugged. "College is college. The important thing is you're both moving forward." That night, my dad pulled me aside. "Emily, we're putting most of our savings toward Nathan's tuition. Oregon State isn't cheap, and he needs the right network to succeed. Your scholarship should cover you." I nodded, already used to the message. Nathan was the investment. I wasn't. Moving to Davis was like breathing for the first time. No more living in Nathan's shadow. No more disappointed glances when I didn't fit their mold of a perfect daughter. I called home weekly at first, but the conversations were predictable. I'd share updates about my classes, and they'd pivot to Nathan's fraternity or internship. By sophomore year, I stopped calling regularly. They didn't notice. When I did call, my mom sounded surprised. "Oh, Emily, it's you. Is everything okay?" I dove into my studies, majoring in viticulture and business. While others partied, I worked at local vineyards, learning everything from grape pruning to marketing. My roommate thought I was obsessive, working weekends when I could be relaxing. She didn't get it. Building something real gave me a purpose I'd never felt at home. Holidays were tough. Thanksgiving meant listening to my parents praise Nathan's new girlfriend from a prominent family or his summer job at a bank. Christmas meant getting practical gifts like socks while Nathan unwrapped expensive watches or tailored suits. In my junior year, my granddad passed away. He was the only one who'd ever asked about my vineyard dreams at his funeral. My dad's eulogy mentioned how proud Granddad was of Nathan's ambition and Emily's little farming projects. By senior year, the gap between me and my family was a canyon. I graduated with honors, but my parents barely made it to the ceremony, citing a conflict with Nathan's internship celebration. "Sorry, Emily," my mom said, giving me a quick hug. "Nathan's event is a big deal. You understand." I did. I understood I'd always be second place. As they left, I vowed to build something they couldn't ignore, not for their approval, but to prove what they'd overlooked. My graduation gift to myself was a tiny studio in Napa Valley, shared with my best friend, Sarah Kim. We'd met in a viticulture class, bonding over our love for sustainable farming. Sarah was sharp, fearless, and the first person to believe in my vision. Our apartment was our office, with laptops on a rickety table and vineyard maps pinned to the walls. We lived on instant noodles, funneling every penny into soil tests and vine cuttings. "What are you doing out there in Napa?" my mom asked during a rare call. "Nathan just landed a job at a top marketing firm. I'm starting a vineyard." "Mom," I said, barely containing my excitement, "we're planting our first acre this spring." "Oh, that's interesting," she replied, her voice flat. "Is there money in grapes? Your dad knows someone at the bank who could get you a clerical job if this doesn't work out." My dad was more direct when I asked for advice on a small business loan. "Emily, be realistic. The wine industry is brutal, and you don't have the connections to succeed. Get a stable job. That's the smart move." Despite their doubts, Sarah and I pressed on. We worked 16-hour days, survived on coffee, and pitched our vineyard to every investor we could find. Most laughed us off, but we kept going. Our break came unexpectedly. A local chef who loved our test batch of Pinot Noir mentioned us to a friend who ran a wine distribution company. One tasting led to a meeting, and suddenly we had a $200,000 investment to lease more land and buy equipment. When I told my parents, my dad's response was lukewarm. "That's lucky. Emily, just don't spend it all at once. These ventures often fail." My mom chimed in. "Did you hear Nathan got engaged? His fiancée, Claire, comes from a very good family." With our funding, we expanded to 5 acres and hired a small team. Our wines started winning local awards, and our brand, Carter Vines, gained traction with restaurants and boutique shops. At Thanksgiving, I tried sharing the news. "We're projecting $500,000 in revenue next year," I said over mashed potatoes. My dad glanced up. "Gross or net revenue doesn't mean profit." Before I could answer, my mom cut in. "Nathan and Claire just bought a house in Portland. Tell her about the backyard." Nathan. And just like that, my moment was gone. As our vineyard grew, we took a risk and leased a larger property with a tasting room. Napa embraced us in ways Oregon never had. Our wines were featured in magazines. And we secured a $5 million investment, valuing Carter Vines at $20 million. A profile in Wine Spectator caught my dad's attention. "Your mom saw something about your vineyard online," he said during a rare call. "Sounds like you're doing okay." The faint praise hurt, but I focused on the positive. "We're thriving. Dad, we have 10 employees and a new tasting room. Don't get cocky," he warned. "These businesses can collapse fast. Have you thought about selling Always the Optimist?" By our 5th year, we received an offer from a major wine conglomerate to buy Carter Vines for $30 million. Sarah and I declined. Believing in our long-term vision, that choice paid off. Our brand expanded nationally. With a valuation hitting $80 million, I was named a rising star in the wine industry and spoke at conferences. I bought a small house overlooking my vineyard, invested wisely, and started a mentorship program for young women in agriculture. But no amount of success could buy what I still craved: my family's genuine respect. I tried bridging the gap. I sent wine baskets for birthdays, offered to host them in Napa. They always had excuses. I donated to my mom's favorite charity in her name. Their responses were polite but distant. At Nathan's engagement party, I overheard my dad talking to his friends. "Emily's doing well with her little vineyard. Not the path we expected, but she's happy. Nathan's marketing career is more our speed." Even with my achievements, I didn't fit their vision of success. As I drove home from that party, I realized I was still chasing their approval, like that kid with the science fair certificate. It was draining. Yet I couldn't let go of the hope that they'd one day see me. That's when I decided to make one bold gesture. If I couldn't earn their respect through my work, maybe I could show them my worth on their terms. Nathan's wedding was approaching, and my mom had always dreamed of a grand venue. I thought offering my vineyard as a wedding venue free of charge might finally make them see me as equal. Little did I know, that decision would change our family forever. The idea to offer my vineyard for Nathan's wedding came after Carter Vines had a record-breaking quarter. We'd just signed contracts with 3 major restaurant chains, boosting our revenue by 30%. To celebrate, Sarah and I went to a cozy bistro in downtown Napa. "You should do something big with that bonus," Sarah said, raising her glass. "You work non-stop. When's the last time you splurged?" I laughed. "I'm not the splurging type. That's why you need to." She pushed, "Take a trip, buy some art, do something that's just for you." That night, scrolling through my phone, I saw my mom's post about Nathan's wedding plans. She'd always wanted a vineyard wedding for him, something elegant and exclusive, but they were struggling to find the perfect spot. That's when it hit me. I could offer Carter Vines, my pride and joy, as the venue. Maybe then they'd see my success in a way they understood. The next day, I called a high-end event planner who specialized in vineyard weddings. She raved about my property's potential. "Your tasting room and the hillside views are perfect," she said. "We can create a dream wedding for 200 guests. Tents, string lights, a custom menu paired with your wines. What's the budget?" "No budget," I replied. "I want the best for my brother. Just send me the estimate." The planner quoted $50,000 for the full setup, including catering, decor, and staff. I didn't blink. "Book it," I said. "I want my family to have the wedding my mom's always dreamed of." That evening, I called my parents, buzzing with excitement. "Mom, Dad, I have news." I said when they picked up, "What's that?" "Emily," my mom asked, sounding distracted. I could hear dishes clinking in the background. "I'm offering Carter Vines for Nathan's wedding. Free venue, fully catered. All expenses paid. It'll be stunning." There was a pause. "A vineyard wedding," my mom said slowly. "That's generous." "Emily, but we're looking at a country club in Portland. It's more Nathan's style." I pushed back gently. "My vineyard's been featured in magazines. It's got panoramic views, a tasting room, everything you'd want. The planner says it's ideal." My dad chimed in. "We appreciate the offer. Emily, but a country club has prestige. People know the name. Let's not complicate things." I swallowed my disappointment. Just think about it. "Okay, I'm sending a proposal from the planner. It's all covered." My mom's tone softened slightly. "That's thoughtful. Emily, we'll discuss it with Nathan and Claire." They hung up, and I felt a familiar pang. Even my grand gesture wasn't enough. Calling Nathan was no better. His first question was about parking. "Will there be enough space for guests?" he asked. "And is the venue licensed for events?" Claire's worried about logistics. "Yes," I assured him. "We're fully licensed. And there's ample parking. The planner's handling everything. Sounds like a lot of work," he said, unconvinced. Claire's parents suggested a hotel ballroom. "It's simpler." I pressed on. "This is a chance for a unique wedding. My wines will be featured, and it's all on me. I'll make sure it's perfect." He sighed. "We'll think about it. Emily, Claire needs to approve the aesthetic. Oh, and can you send photos of the space? She's particular about lighting." "No thank you, just demands." I hung up, feeling like I was pitching a client, not gifting my family a dream wedding. Over the next few weeks, the requests piled up. My mom called with questions about the guest list. "Can you fit 250? The country club could..." My dad wanted to know about the catering. "Is it gourmet? Nathan's colleagues expect a certain standard." Claire had the most demands, a specific shade of ivory for the linens, vegan options for her friends, a stage for a live band, and even a request to reconfigure the tasting room for better flow. I agreed to everything, paying extra for custom linens and a layout change, pushing the cost to $65,000. I told myself it was worth it to finally be seen as their equal. A month before the wedding, I flew to Oregon for a family meeting to finalize plans. My parents insisted on hosting at their country club, where they could show off to their friends. "Everyone's talking about Nathan's wedding," my mom said as we sat at a polished table. "The Thompsons are impressed we're even considering a vineyard." I smiled, hoping for a shred of gratitude. "Carter Vines is a top venue," I said. "The planners created a vision board. It's going to be magical." My dad sipped his coffee. "It's a decent option, Emily. But the club here is renowned, more established. Maybe next time you could look into something with a bigger name." The subtle jab stung. My vineyard wasn't good enough, even as a free gift. Dinner was a parade of Nathan's achievements. My parents introduced me as their daughter who runs a vineyard, then quickly shifted to Nathan's promotion and Claire's family connections. As dessert arrived, My dad raised his glass to Nathan's bright future and Emily's generous offer, even if it's a bit unconventional. The table chuckled, and I forced a smile, feeling like a guest at my own family's celebration. 2 weeks before the wedding, the pressure intensified. My mom called daily, pushing me to adjust the vineyard's schedule. "Can you close the tasting room for a week? We need time for setup." I explained we had bookings, but I'd work around them. Claire emailed a list of last-minute changes: a new floral arch, a bigger dance floor, and a request to remove a row of vines for better photo backdrops. That last one stopped me cold. Those vines were my first planting, the heart of Carter vines. I called Nathan. "I can't remove the vines," I said. "They're part of the vineyard's soul." "Claire says it's for the photos," he replied, annoyed. "It's our wedding." "Emily, can't you be flexible?" I offered alternatives: a portable arch, different angles. He hung up, frustrated. The cost crept to $75,000, but I kept paying, clinging to the hope they'd finally see my worth. The breaking point came a week before the wedding. My mom called, her voice sharp. "Emily, we've been talking, and we think you should let Nathan use the vineyard permanently." What I asked, stunned. She pressed on. "It's a great venue, and Nathan's starting a side business in event planning. He could take over the property, make it a full-time wedding venue. You could focus on your wines elsewhere. It's practical, and it'd help Nathan's career." My heart sank. "You want me to give up my vineyard? I built it from nothing. It's my life. You're being selfish, Emily," she snapped. "Nathan's building a family. This could set him up for life. You've done well, but family comes first." I was speechless. After everything, $75,000, endless concessions, they wanted my dream, my legacy. For Nathan's side hustle, I took a deep breath. "Mom, I'm not giving up Carter Vines. I'm happy to host the wedding, but the vineyard stays mine." There was a long silence. "You're choosing property over family," she said coldly. "I always knew you didn't understand loyalty." She hung up, and I sat there, shaking. My mom had called me selfish for protecting what I'd built. The vineyard I'd poured my heart into wasn't just a business, it was my identity. That night, I called Sarah. "It's me," I said, my voice cracking. "They want my vineyard for Nathan." "What?" she exclaimed. "After you're giving them a free wedding? That's insane." I told her everything, my mom's words. The years of being second best. It's like I'm still that kid they never saw. I admitted. Sarah didn't mince words. "Emily, you're a badass who built an $80 million vineyard. You don't need their approval. They're using you." "What are you going to do?" "I don't know." I said, "The wedding's in a week. I can't back out now. You can set boundaries," she insisted. "You're the one with the power here. Show them who you are." If you've ever had a family demand something you couldn't give, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. Let's hit that like button and keep watching to see how I reclaim my ground. The next morning, I woke with a new resolve. I wasn't canceling the wedding, but I wasn't letting my family walk over me anymore. I called the event planner. "Can we adjust the contract to protect the vineyard?" I asked. "No changes to the vines, and I want final say on any modifications." "Absolutely." She said, "You're the owner. I'll update the terms." For the first time, I felt in control. The stage was set for Nathan's wedding, but it would be on my terms. Little did I know, the real confrontation was still to come. The week before Nathan's wedding, I threw myself into preparations, ensuring Carter Vines would shine. The tasting room was transformed with fairy lights, the hillside draped in elegant tents. My team worked overtime, and the planner confirmed every detail was perfect. But my mom's words, selfish, disloyal, kept echoing. I wasn't just fighting for my vineyard. I was fighting for my place in a family that had never truly seen me. If you're still with me, drop a comment with where you're watching from, hit that like button, and subscribe to hear how this story ends. The wedding day arrived. A golden Napa morning with clear skies and a gentle breeze. I'd spent $75,000 to make it flawless. From the custom menu to the live string quartet. Guests arrived in sleek cars, marveling at the vineyard's beauty. I wore a simple emerald dress, professional but understated, ready to oversee the event as the owner, not just Nathan's sister. My family arrived an hour later, looking like they'd stepped out of a magazine. My mom wore a designer gown, my dad a tailored tuxedo. Nathan and Claire were the picture of perfection, her white dress trailing elegantly. They were all smiles, greeting guests and posing for photos. "This is stunning." "Emily," my mom said as she passed me in the tasting room, "you've outdone yourself." It was the closest she'd come to a thank you, but it felt hollow. I nodded. "Glad you think so. Let me know if you need anything." As the ceremony began, I stood at the back, watching Nathan and Claire exchange vows under a floral arch. The crowd clapped, but I felt like an outsider, a hired vendor at my own brother's wedding. The reception was a hit. Guests raved about the food, the wines, the views. My parents mingled with Claire's wealthy relatives, basking in the event's prestige. Nathan and Claire danced under the stars. While my dad gave a speech praising Nathan's ambition and Claire's grace, he mentioned me briefly. "And thanks to Emily for letting us use her vineyard. It's a nice spot." The crowd applauded politely, but the dismissal stung. My vineyard wasn't just a nice spot, it was a masterpiece I'd built. As dinner wound down, I noticed my family avoiding me, too busy networking with high-profile guests. Then it happened, during a toast. My mom took the microphone. She thanked everyone, then turned to Nathan. "We're so proud of you," she said, "and we're excited to announce that Nathan's starting an event planning business, and this vineyard could be his flagship venue." The crowd murmured in approval, but I froze. My heart pounded. She was announcing Nathan's takeover of my vineyard in front of 200 guests. Without my consent, I caught Sarah's eye across the room. She nodded, urging me to act. I stood, my legs shaking, and walked to the microphone. "Excuse me, Mom," I said, my voice steady but firm. "Can I say a few words?" She looked startled but handed over the mic. The crowd quieted, sensing tension. I took a deep breath. "Thank you all for being here." I began. "Carter Vines is my home, my dream, and my life's work. I was honored to host Nathan and Claire's wedding, but I need to clarify something. This vineyard is not available for any other business. It's mine, and it's staying mine." A gasp rippled through the crowd. My mom's face turned pale. My dad's jaw tightened. Nathan stared, stunned. "I kept going, for years. I've tried to earn my family's respect. I built this vineyard from nothing, turned it into an $80 million business, and gave you this wedding for free. But instead of gratitude, I've been asked to give up my legacy for someone else's dream. That's not happening." I turned to my family, who stood frozen. "Mom, you called me selfish for protecting what I've built, but real selfishness is expecting someone to sacrifice their life's work for your convenience. Dad, you've dismissed my success as luck. Nathan, you've taken this gift without a single thank you. I'm done chasing approval I'll never get." The crowd was silent, some nodding in support, others whispering. I handed the mic back to my mom and walked off, my heart racing but my head high. I retreated to my office in the tasting room, tears stinging my eyes. Sarah followed. "That was incredible," she said, hugging me. "You finally stood up." "Was it too much?" I asked, doubting myself. "No," she said, "they needed to hear it. You're not their doormat anymore." My phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. "What was that, Mom's humiliated? You ruined our day." I didn't reply. Instead, I poured a glass of my best Pinot Noir and stepped onto the vineyard's terrace, staring at the vines I'd planted a decade ago, for the first time. I felt free, not triumphant, just unburdened. The next morning, I expected chaos, but the vineyard was quiet. Guests had left, and my family was packing up. My mom knocked on my office door, looking shaken. "Can we talk?" she asked. I nodded, letting her in. She sat across from me, avoiding my eyes. "That was quite a scene you caused." She said. "I embarrassed you," I replied, "but you embarrassed me first, announcing Nathan's plans for my vineyard like it was a done deal." She sighed. "We thought it made sense. Nathan needs a start, and you're already successful. My success isn't a free pass for you to take what's mine." I said, "I've spent my life trying to be enough for you. It's exhausting." Her eyes welled up. "Have we been that awful I could have listed every slight? But I didn't. You've never seen me, Mom. Not as I am. You see Nathan's sister, the one who doesn't fit your mold." She nodded slowly. "I didn't understand what you built here. It's not our world. That doesn't make it less real." I said, "It's worth $80 million because of my work. Not luck? She looked around the office. At the awards on the walls. I see that now, she said quietly. Maybe too late, but I do. That evening, I joined my family for a tense dinner at a nearby restaurant. My dad barely spoke, his pride wounded. Nathan and Claire were cold, but Claire surprised me. I'm sorry. She said, we got carried away with the venue idea. It's your place. Emily, we should have asked. Nathan grunted, but didn't contradict her. My mom tried to bridge the gap, asking about my latest wine blend. It was awkward, but it was a start. The rest of the week, we tiptoed around each other. My dad kept his distance, but I caught him reading a Wine Spectator article about Carter vines in my office. My mom and I had a long talk about my childhood, and she admitted they'd favored Nathan. We didn't know how to handle your ambition. She said, it was so different. Different doesn't mean less, I replied. She hugged me, a rare gesture. On their last day in Napa, Nathan approached me alone. I messed up, he said, staring at the ground. I didn't think about what this place means to you. I just saw an opportunity. I nodded. I wanted to give you the perfect wedding. But I'm not giving up my dream for yours. I get it, he said. Can we start over? Maybe grab coffee when I'm back in town? It wasn't a full apology, but it was something. Sure. I said, bring your kid next time. I want to meet my nephew. 6 months later, I hosted a family barbecue at the vineyard, my first time welcoming them on my turf. My mom helped set up, asking about my team. Nathan brought his newborn son, who giggled as I showed him the vines. My dad was still gruff, but he asked about my expansion plans. Listening for once, old habits surfaced a stray comment about Nathan's promotion, a comparison I didn't need, but now I called them out. Calmly but firmly. We were building something new, based on who we were, not who they wanted me to be. That night, I sat on my terrace, the vineyard glowing under the moonlight. The wedding showdown hadn't erased years of hurt, but it had shattered a cycle. I wasn't chasing their approval anymore. I was inviting them into my world, on terms of mutual respect. The real lesson wasn't about confronting my family. It was about owning my worth, standing firm in my truth, sometimes. You have to say no to find your yes. The journey to belonging isn't about fitting into someone else's vision. It's about building your own, where you're enough just as you are. If you've ever had to stand up to family to protect your dream, share your story in the comments. Like and subscribe if this hit home. Thank you for listening, and may you find the strength to claim your place, whatever that looks like for you.